Alright, everybody out there in YouTube land, what is up? Rockin' Dave, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Thank you so much for tuning in, my friends. I really appreciate it. Sorry about yesterday. I was a little bit under the weather. We got already, 13 people joining in. That's great. That track right there happens to be something Old Man Dan put up yesterday, and I meant to get that done yesterday for him. I don't know if I could save this in my loop pedal. Let's see. Ah, I cannot save it. That's okay. I'll figure something out while it's flashing. Oh, I can just get out of that like that. There we go. Okay. So yeah, that's a track Old Man Dan was messing around with, and thanks to my trusty little Digitech setup here, I actually love this thing, man. You just create things right on the fly, especially the bass. You know, you could do these. And when you run it into a powered PA speaker, and so if you guys were in a room with me right now, you'd be able to feel that bass. You might be able to hear it more if we put the headphones on. Well, I'll tell you what. If I just played a track, you might just hear it. So that's what you could do with this thing, you know. So I absolutely love it. And of course, the Ibanez, trusty old Ibanez guitar, my friends. And the videos I put up a couple of days ago was at my Friday show at La Corte, and this thing has all kind of drum patterns in there. And what I did was played around with a little jazzy number. But how I got that jazz tone is so simple. It's something we used to do way back in the day. When I had my Ibanez Artist, I had a little bit more. I had a little bit more versatility because it was like set up like a Les Paul, so I had the three-way toggle switch, 2 volume and 2 tone controls, but each pickup had a 3-way mini switch. So I was able to simply roll back the tone on my neck pickup. Guys, we're back again. Now we got 16 people. I love it. Great. So basically, that's what we're doing. Roll down our tone control on the neck pickup. In this case, this guitar only has volume and tone. So I'll set it to the neck pickup, and well, basically it's just, you know. Now here's the volume, tone control all the way down. Now you can bring it up a little bit. Guitar hack, thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's Nine Phantoms. How are you, Sonia? How are you? Thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna rewind to Jason Wade, Cyber Evil. Thank you so much. I'm gonna, I'll scroll through the chats and say hi to everybody. I got 19 people. Janice, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in. Jim Dietrich, the one and the only, my friend. Great guitar player. Great stuff you put up, man, and you get a killer tone out of that Pod HD500X. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you could do with that pedal for a fraction of some of the expensive stuff, which I'll get in on that a little bit. But yeah, basically to get this tone, you just roll down you just roll the tone down on your guitar, and your guitar. And basically, if you could think in terms of trying to mimic what jazz guitar would sound like, wherever how you hear it in your head, That's basically how I would go about things. And as years started to pass by, things started to evolve, and that's how I was able to. That's one way I was develop my style. What's happening? Soda Pop, Groovy Gooly, what is happening? We got a lot of people. Wow, man. Really appreciate this, guys. Thank you so much. Just have to go backwards in time, you know what I mean? 157. What is happening, my friend? See, the type is real small. If I mispronounce names, it's not intentional. I never want to insult anybody. You know what I mean? Ah, Northern California. Wow. Okay. So wait. Uh-huh. Well, thank you so much, Jason. Yeah, we're enjoying our day, man. Oh, we got 22 people. Sweet. Guitar Girl Caleb, how is the Rory Caster doing? I gotta tell you something about the Rory Caster and Rory Gallagher. You're a fan of Rory Gallagher. I'm a fan of Rory Gallagher. We've been to Ireland. I think Rory is from South Ireland. My great grandfolks are from Waterford, Ireland, and we had the pleasure of being over in Waterford, Dublin, and we played at this little tiny place called Buckley's in Killarney. But Rory Gallagher, the first time I heard Rory Gallagher was 1979. I was a junior in high school, and the album, the Chicago radio station, The Loop, was playing the song, the title track off of the album, Follow Me. And that's when I first heard Rory Gallagher. I'm like, oh, this guy rocks. But one of my favorite tracks off that album is Bad Penny. I got somewhere floating around here, a live CD of Rory Gallagher in Ireland. Jeff Underwood, thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, Caleb, that is a really cool guitar you got going on there. Now, you have a Dean guitar. I believe it's what they call the Baby Z, meaning it's a little bit smaller. Not short scale, but the body's smaller. I had one of those in was it 1986? Something like that. And it had the Kaler whammy system on there. With the headstock was a mini V, and the body I had was like a Explorer type. It only had one pickup. But I think I sold it to a friend, or I gave it to a friend. There was some Dry Heat 480. What's happening, my friend? There was some funny stuff going on with the guy that got the guitar and was gonna sell it to, so I didn't want to be involved in any of the shenanigans. Like, dude, here, do whatever you want with it. I don't want to put my hands. I don't want to be associated with funny money. You know what I mean? Or funny stuff, funny business. But anyways, so that's how I get the tone out of this guitar, and out of the Gibson. The Gibson and Guitar Hack, you got the same features on your Les Paul, with the coil splitting and the phase reverse. And that's how I was able to get that type of a tone when, let's see. There's old man Dan. I opened up with your song, man. That's what I did with that one. You probably heard it, but... Dean. Okay. Sorry about that, old man. Yeah, Dean MXL. That's what you got, yeah. Yeah, Dean was a great guitar company, man. I remember when they came out in the 70s, and, we're in high school. How Dean got people's attention was, those Flying V's were nice guitars, man. Sweet guitars. But they had this blonde girl in a bikini holding up two Flying V's. And then this is when everybody was forgetting about Fenders and Gibson because they wanted to see the girl in the bikini, But minus that, those guitars, man, were great, great build guitars. And Dean is still making great guitars. But for a while, they fell off the market. And I'm not saying anything bad about these guys and their quality. So this is not bashing them. Dean, Kramer. I remember when Kramer had their aluminum necks with the pitchfork. And you hold the guitar, if you let go of it, it'd go like that because it was so neck heavy. And Washburn. Oh my God, there's another company. Well, BC Rich, you know, things are going on with BC Rich. But Ibanez, they never fell off the bandwagon. Now, you don't have to like Ibanez guitars. I'm not gonna cry and wet the bed over it. I guarantee you that. Mr. Joe Winch, the Joe Winch Project. Dude, I love that Strat. I watched your video today, man. I love that Strat. I'll tell you what, everyone subscribe to Joe's channel, man. He's a great guy, great guitar player. Love that stuff. Oh! Yes, and we're ordering your shirt, Mr. Joe Winch, but ours came in, you know, snail mail. And this is actually help from Mr. Joe Winch, the Joe Winch Project. Of course, it's, I hope I'm not, you know, making everyone's eyeballs get crossed. Yeah, so Joe helped design this. Rockin, Dave, Byron, desire to inspire. That's what we try to do, my friends. We try to inspire people on the channel. Inspire them to play, inspire them to go out and play, you know. Never let anybody hold you back. But Joe, you really helped us out. We're returning that favor, my friend. Big time. Big time. And so, and Joe's got that. I almost bought that same Ibanez you have, Joe. The Gem Junior. But the same guitar that EJ's guitar jams, that same Ibanez, I almost bought that one. Matter of fact, that was the first one I pulled off the rack. And then the Gem Junior, I grabbed the Mitchell guitar, I grabbed the 8-string, and then I'm playing all three of them, okay, all four of them, going back and forth, and I happen to see this hanging, you know, on the rack, and thought, oh, let me check that one out. As soon as I picked this one up, boom, it just felt super comfortable. Main reason, it does not have an arm contour, and I don't like my arm like that. That was always my situation with the Fender Strats. But to see, Joe, with that Floyd that you got, it kind of stables it out. And that's proof right there that that's a great built guitar, because you had it since 2004, and it sounds great, and you didn't have to do much messing around with it. So yeah, totally awesome. I just played my Mojo working Country Hook. Wish you were here, and my original Hold My Baby with a friend. I play most of the chords. Janice, there's nothing wrong with playing chords. No, I'll tell you that right now. You know, here's the deal. Back in the day, I don't know how old, well, some of you people might be older than me, you know. That means you got that much more experience in life in general. But back in the day, in the early 80s, when the first version of the shredders were coming out, and, you know, because we're all building up our chops, you know, at that time, nobody wanted to be known as a rhythm guitar player. You had to be the lead guitar player. The problem is, if you have no sense of rhythm, your leads are going to sound either like a scale exercise, or they're going to sound like kind of bad, because everything has rhythm. Everything has a timing. Let's see. Your jazz is very... Oh, thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate it, man. I was always considered the oddball in all these bands I were in a way, you know. Or at least that was the impression that I got. Because I would do metal, right? And I also was studying, you know, self-studying classical guitar. And because I have a passion for the classical guitar. And growing up in the area I grew up in, Chicago, I was literally like sorry about that, guys. We fell off the bandwagon. R2, R3 locking nut. I gotta say something really quick, R2. Now I figured out what that really means, R2, R3. The size of the locking nut. Very interesting video you put up, man. That is so informative. That right there is, everyone's got to check out that video with R2, R3. That's so informative, man. Because if you start ordering parts for your guitars, you're going to start to find out about different sizes, about different pole pieces. Like when I put that rolling saddle bridge on the Gibson. It came with the pole pieces, but you got to specify if you have a Gibson or an Epiphone, because the sizes are different. So all these little nuances you really don't think about until when you buy the parts, and then you open it up Oh, it's like, a can of beer. You open it up. I don't drink anyways, but if you open a can of beer and don't like it, no, it's gone. We used to have the pull tabs. Throw the pull tab out. Does Dave have Canadian internet? I know, right? Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, R2R3. No problem, man. How long? Let's see. We got to on the plane. Oh, how long? As long as you want. Mr. Jeff, as long as you want, man. I figure, and this is in respect to Rick Romanelli. I thought that was a great thing that he put out. Everyone grab their Les Pauls and play. And you know what? As long as you want the riff to be a riff or a lick, if it's original, if it's a cover, if it's on your acoustic, it's on your electric, it's just to kind of see what everyone's got and not to say anything, good or bad about anything, but just kind of like, spotlight, see what you guys really like. It inspires people. It really does, because it could be the simplest lick. It doesn't have to be anything. For instance, what Old Man Dan was playing, it's like a form of an A minor chord, and this is how I'm sorry guys if if I were to take my notes low pitch to high, this is exactly what I would have. A, then octave A, right there is C, right there is G, but when I release it, it becomes F and a high E. No, I'm not going to release it. I'm going to go from a G with my pinky down to a G flat. So the only note that changed in that chord is the G to G flat. And then a C major chord, D major chord, A minor first fret. And then the last chord I'm adding on is the G. Oh, Janice says I'm 62. Sonia says I'm 62, laugh out loud. Oh, David Enos, how are you, my friend? I can't shred, but I have a thing in my... Yeah, no problem. Here's the deal. It doesn't have to be supersonic shred. And this kind of goes back to the time I started playing guitar. Really, there was no shredding, except the underground jazz fusion. Because I started playing in 1974, and that's when guitar greats Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin, Larry Coryell, and Alan Holdsworth, and it was all underground. You never really heard it on radio, And those are the guys that inspired the first generation of the shredders. And then, in conjunction with the groove-oriented styles of jazz and funk music mixed with rock, and then the classical and flamenco with Paco de Lucia, classical guitarist Pepe Romero, Segovia, John Williams, Julian Bream, and then some of the female classical guitarists were coming out. I think they came out a little later, like Sharon Isbin and this gal Anna Vidovic. Then you start seeing where all these styles blend together, But that was kind of like the first generation of shred metal, neoclassical shred metal. And back then, a lot of guitarists were studying classical violin because Yngwie Malmsteen made that popular, But other than that, if there's no sense of melody, it's because I started the time I started. I love people like Carlos Santana. I love the way he phrases, man. It's just him, B.B. King, Gary Moore, and guys like Robin Trower and Steve Ray Vaughan, and of course the blues guitarists that I grew up listening to. That again, a mile down the road. One of these days, I'm gonna get everything together here with the laptop, or whatever, and our time set where I could interview Shane from In the Blues. And the reason why I want to talk with him is because he had this video up with him jamming with Sammy Fender. Now I don't remember Sammy Fender because I already moved out of Chicago, but I wish I could take it. Yeah, Frank Marino, Mahogany Rush. Yep. It's another great guitarist, blues rock guitarist. But then in Chicago we had Lefty Diz, Lonnie Brooks, Eddie the Chief Clearwater. Eddie the Chief Clearwater. Big Twist and the Mellow Fellows. Coco Taylor. Oh God, the list goes on and on and on. And so I would hear all this stuff, literally, like down, if in the summertime you open up your window, if the wind blows north or blows northwest, because a lot of these clubs were kind of like southeast. But when the wind's blowing, sound travels, and this is what you hear. Let's see. Lenny Brew, yeah. Oh, I mean, like Frank Marino is from Montreal. Oh, great. Yeah, Frank Marino's a great guitarist, guitar hack. Oh, man. See, you could relate to that stuff, too, because, for me, now it's called classic rock. Mississippi Fred McDonald, 61. Yeah. Oh, man. I mean, I love the shred. It's fun. But there are times when it's like, okay, to me, if it doesn't sound right for me playing it, not anyone else, then I'll, like, space it out, Yeah, Paper Money song. Oh, Mitch Heyman, how are you? How you feeling, my friend? Hope all is good. I really hope all is good in everyone's world, Playing on my new amp. Ah, what kind of amp did you get, man? Yeah, let's type. I'm like that too. I type things one at a time, with the one finger. Let's see. Oh, the Fender Mustang. Is it like the new version or is it like version 3? Yeah, mix them both. Shred and the blues. Yeah, soda pop. Yep. To me, it's like a combination. Oh, you don't know. I'll tell you what. If it has a silver face grill, and because the Mustang GT is not, it's all completely black. Shane from In the Blues said that one he played wasn't all that great, and I've seen guys talking about the little 40-watt one, and I'll agree about it sounding a little boxy and that. But if you could pull a good tone out of it, then after a while you don't. If you could pull a good tone out of it, you're not guitars at the music store comparing it to everything else. Then when it's by itself, then you can start to pull out a good sound out of the thing. Just like I was suffering from a little vertigo. You know what? Mitch Heyman. That's what I felt like I was having yesterday, man. Oh, dude. And it just hit me out of the blue. Boom. And I already had the video up that was going to go live. I'm like, crap. So, hey, we're all human, Let's see. Yeah, 1980. Okay, so you know who he is. Big Twist and the Mellow Fellows. Yeah, they're offset. Yeah, and Larry Carlton in 1989. Yeah, see, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Watchmen for you. How you doing, my friend? Good seeing you. Thank you for tuning in. There was this video. It's still up. I forget the guy's name. I think I subscribed to his channel. He's playing this 1968 Ibanez jazz guitar. It's a copy of a Gibson ES 175. The only thing is, it has newer P90s, black P90s in it. Now, if that date on that guitar is legit, 1968, then that means Ibanez has been around more than 50 years, because that guitar this guy had was a finished product. So that means Ibanez probably started in 1965, maybe 66, somewhere around that time. And of course, it's a lot different in Japan, like it's different in Canada, for certain businesses to get up and rolling financially. But I thought, when doing a dedication to a guitar company, I figured, well, I'll pick the guitar that really was my very first guitar, was the Ibanez Artist. And there's a guy that did send something, and I'm sorry if I forgot exactly who it was, but I think he has an Artist 125, I think it was, or 175. It sounds like he's got a hollow body, or semi-hollow. And, I mean, Again, you don't have to like Ibanez or anything, but I just think it's real interesting that this company never fell off the radar. You know, they've always stayed up in the public eye. That meaning their company did not close and get sold, or if it did get sold, it's under the table. They just kept moving forward. You know, and it's this little guitar. I'm very happy with this thing because didn't have to spend a lot of money at all, and it's been super reliable, and tuning and in functionality, and you'll see. You play back some of the live videos when it fell and we threw it and it crashed. That picked up. It was still in tune. Plus two. Oh, two nosebleeds in 2 days. Yeah, you know what, guys? Oh no, that's no offense at all, Mister 157. No, I don't take any offense if yeah, shred's not your thing. After a while, you know what it sounds. It sounds like when you can only go so fast because what'll happen is if a person gets to be so fast, the human ear is going to basically hear something like this. It's going to be so fast you're not going to be able to determine what's going on. So without doing like bends and things of that nature, it has to breathe. Music has to breathe, you know. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, I hope that you're feeling better, man, because it's yeah, soda pop. It does suck when when you know what? It's just a hard thing to say when people will say if you have your health, you have everything, and there's a lot of truth in that. But there, amongst the gigs that we've done, um, we've done a lot of the senior centers. We'd either go to the senior center and play, or we would have stage shows with this with our vocalist Renee, and she was a great singer. And we would sell the tickets. We were not renting out the place, but what we would do is a show and a dinner. Now, R2, R3 Locking Up, you're in Schaumburg, Illinois. I think that's what you said. We used to play at Chandler's Steakhouse in Schaumburg. Sometimes we'd be downstairs. Once in a while we'd be upstairs, but mostly downstairs. It would be like afternoon shows. We'd buy the meal, and it would be sold as a dinner and a show, or a lunch and a show. And man, they'd come out, even in the dead of winter. How about it, Deb? In January, they'd come out, these seniors. It'd be freezing cold, man. And they'd pack the place. And they would pack it to the capacity of the rooms that we had, which was a great thing. So we were able to turn a profit, you know. But, you know, some of these people, it's real hard to see, especially when you're playing in the senior center, that, oh, if you got your health, you have everything. Then you see someone, you know, they only have maybe a few months expected. It's real hard to say things like that, you know, so it's tough. It's real tough, you know. Chandler's is still there on the golf course. Yep, that's exactly it. R2, yep. You know, when Deb was telling me about Chandler's, she said we did a wedding gig there. I'm like, I couldn't remember because after a while you do so many of these gigs and they all start to blend into one, you know. So as soon as we walked into the place, boom, everything came back. All memory came back, you know. Let's see, I'm like P98 is pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, this guitar, when I saw it, man, I'm like, you know, 1968. That says a lot about the company, you know. And then after they got sued, they didn't fold. They just moved forward, you know. And I remember, I'll never forget this, going to Chicago Music Company and, you know, seeing some of the Ibanez guitars up on the, little by little, getting up on the rack there. And this one guy was saying, oh, that's garbage. It's made in Japan. That's garbage. Well, I didn't understand what he really meant. Now I look back, I kind of see what he means about, you know, about, yeah, how about it, Guitar Hack? About too many gigs? Oh. You've done the multiple day gigs. You know, we done that too. You're over here in the afternoon, and you're over there in the evening. You gotta hurry up. And then if you're outside, you're sweating. Then you change clothes because if it's a more elegant place you're playing at, you gotta look nice and everything. And you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work though, but it's a lot of fun. Uh, but yeah, I remember what this guy was saying about Ibanez being junk guitars. They're great guitars. They're built great, but everybody was worried about them taking over and everyone falling off the planet and everything, and that never really happened. Everything's fair game in business. That's what it is. That's really what it comes down to. But like I said, this is a workhorse for me. I keep everything stock. I guess what it is, it's not that I don't like other pickup companies. It's just I don't have time. We got several guitars, but then what it's like. You get used to one guitar, it becomes your main guitar, and you know makes for a good neck pickup. Oh yeah, let's see. I appreciate that, Jeff. Yeah, like I said, see, I played. Aha, 157. See, you're smart, man. Well, you see, when people put videos up on YouTube, whether they're in their bedroom or they turn their bedroom to a studio or whatever, if you're doing a performance on YouTube, you're doing a performance. And what's real nice with this platform, you don't have to drag your gear out. You don't have to put wear and tear on your car. Because a lot of people forget about the vehicle. The guitar needs new strings. The amp needs new tubes if you have a tube amp. I need new cables. I need new this. I need new that. When's the last time you checked the oil? Oh crap. We're at 5,000 miles, 6,000 miles. And some cars can do 5,000. But then you start neglecting your vehicle, man. And all the stuff you got in the world's just sit in the front room with you because you can't get to the gig because you forgot about one of the most important instruments besides the guitar, the pedals, and the amp. The car. We just had to buy a new PA. Deluxe 59ers next to his awesome. Yeah, that is, man. I tell you what, they make some great, great stuff. Yeah, Soda Pop, I hope you're feeling better too, man. Really do. I think, Janice, you also used a microcube like Joe Winch, right? Those things sound great. And it's just a little bothersome. Yeah. Well, why I'm drinking water right now is because tomorrow we get our blood test, just to make sure all organs are working, physical. And then I'll later on after that, prepare for another test for cancer, because my sister passed from cancer, and so every 3 years we try to go for my test, my checkup and that, And it's, as you get older, things happen in life. It's sad, but that's how it is. Yes, microcubes, yep. The microcubes are nice amps. But, thank God that our house has been doing good, so that's why I don't go out and run out and buy everything that's coming out from NAMM before it comes out, I'm not the type of person that wants to jump on any bandwagons. If it's something I like, But if other people want to do that, hey, go for it, it's your money. But as you get older, and if you're doing a lot, you have to, and you want to maintain that type of a pace, then you have to start investing in your health, because that'll knock you out of the box, boom, like that. Bandwagon, bandwagon. That'd be a good name for a band, right? Bandwagon. Yeah. So what strings are favored? Okay. On my nylon string guitars, I favor the Diodario extra hard tension, because I also play with my picks so the strings don't get so wobbly. And I've been having great luck with those. On my steel string acoustic, I'll use Diodarios. On the electrics, I go back and forth from Diodarios to Ernie Ball. Now on the Les Paul, on my Epiphone, I still have my 11 gauge in standard tuning. I think they're power slinkies. On the Gibson, I just put regular 10s on it just recently, and it's feeling kind of good. On this, let's see, this Ibanez has got 10s. This is the one I found in the dumpster, man. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. On the BC Rich, I have 12 to 56 in a drop D. On this, surprisingly, I got 9s, and it's a longer scale. And for a long time, I was like, man, I can't use 9s. They're just too wobbly. But for some reason, they don't seem as wobbly on this guitar. Part of it, maybe a little bit, you know. So, I play very staccato. Play legato once in a while when, you know, it's required. But yeah, I've tried all kind of strings in the past, man. Oh, God. GHS, Boomers, Fenders, Gibsons. I mean, you know, when I started playing, we didn't really have the variety that we got now, you know. I've been getting some pretty good sound out of you. Oh, you got that Katana 100. Yeah, Mitch, that thing sounds great. I know Joe Winch has got the Katana head, and if he doesn't want to run it through his cabinet, the head has a little 5-inch speaker built into it. Thought that was brilliant. I played through a 50-watt Katana, and wow, man, I was blown away by it. And since Janice has the cubes, I played through the Roland Street Cube EX, and there's a channel on there called Lead, and man, that thing sounded great. Now the Street Cube EX is 50 watts. It'll run 11 hours on 8AA batteries, just like this. I have a Roland BA330 powered monitor. That's 4 channels, and that's what I run the Digitech through. Let's see what's coming up on the chat. Could you take a small amp like one that has gain, volume, tone, and reverb, and show how to get a great tone? Yeah, you know what? On one of my upcoming videos, I'll do that. That has gain, volume, and tone, and reverb, and show. Yeah. I'll see what I could do about that, because there is little tricks to get a good sound out of things. Now, if it's a plastic casing, you know, sometimes you're very, very limited, but you'd be surprised. Every amp will have its sweet spot. It's just that, can you get used to that sweet spot, you know? Because let's say you had a gig you had to do, right? And you got to fly somewhere, so you don't want to grab your amp unless you got money to put it on, because you'll see what I mean, how much that costs. And you can use what they have at the gig. And then you get there, and it's basically everything that you basically can't stand. Can you still play through it? Can you pull your sound out of it? You know, I know that's kind of a hard thing to ask and hard thing to say, but you might be in those situations. And then you might have to deal with what you got. That's why all these fly rigs. And you know, I love it when all of a sudden it's called a new thing. It's a fly rig. Oh, this is a new thing. That's not anything new. That stuff's been around for ages. It's called multi-effects units. That's what it is. It's just that a lot of them had advanced. That's all. Let's see. I have to use the Tone Studio software to get a better sound out of the... Yeah, see, here's the thing, Mitch. This is what... Dave, I've been playing through my Boss JS10 and like it. Yeah, that JS10. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong on this one. Soda Pop. The JS10, it's kind of like that Jam Studio with the built-in speakers that will take an SD card. I heard John Petrucci using that, and it sounded great, man. You know. Let's see. Amps have. Yeah, they do have to be at a good volume. See, here's the thing, and I know you'll agree with me on this, Guitar Hack. The lower wattage, especially for the tube amps, the lower wattage, the better sound you get out of it. I don't know how many of you guys and gals out there remember back in the 80s when it was the JCM 800. And one of my friends, he bought a Marshall half stack, and it was in white covering, you know. It wasn't the Silver Jubilee. It was a JCM 800, and it was a white covering. He opted for the 50 watt head. He had enough money to buy the 100 watt, but he didn't know if he wanted to spend that extra money. And everyone was saying, "Oh, you get more volume, blah blah blah." And then a couple of us were saying, "Yeah, but," his name was Leo. I said, "Leo, how loud are you going to crank that Marshall? Because look how loud that's going to be. Look how loud you got to crank that 100 watts to get that muscle sound out of it. Now plug into that 50 watter." I said, "How loud is the drummer going to be?" And they're going to mic the amp, and you're still going to be at a great volume. So what he did was, he bought the 50 watt, and man, he was able to get this sweet spot at band practice, man. And I personally think what a lot of guys would do is take two 50 watt heads and run them into some of the cabinets, like my 412 has stereo ins. Well, yeah. Or if not, you run. I think that's how we had to do it. Or slave drive one head into the other, preamp out into the input. But we're trying to get the most oomph out of that amp. So a lower wattage tube amp will always sound great. Yes, it is. But yeah, yes, it is. And plug in your guitar. Yep. The Bugero 5. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I plugged through that V22. That thing was awesome, man. I was shocked. See, I've read a lot of will say that Mitch, you got to use the software. Yeah, see, that's what I heard too, Mitch. You know about using the software. This is what the Tone King was saying. This is why he personally likes the PV Viper over the Katana. The Katana to me sounds like it has a great analog sound. That's why I think it's awesome. But I guess the PV also, its gain stage, its distortion and preamp section is all analog, which I like that, because you could roll the volume down and clean it out a little bit, similar to a tube amp. But honestly, nothing's gonna beat a tube amp. I mean, you get a great sound out of those things. But I don't know. If you buy something and then you got to hook up to the computer, and then if you're like me, completely computer illiterate, it's like, well, you just lost a customer there. And how many of us are not really computer savvy? You're gonna do a gig, right? Or you could do a YouTube video or YouTube live chat. Okay, hold on, guys. And then you gotta someone got the Bluetooth, and you gotta like shake it like the Etch-a-Sketch. Hold on, guys, I'm getting a signal. Wait a minute. It's like, then you yawn and you're tired. The show's over and you haven't even started. I like simplicity. Now, even though this Digitech, everything is digital in here, I'm able to pull a good sound that is good that I could use, and that's why I use it. Because there's a lot of convenience I have in that thing that I could use it for. But like I said, it doesn't. I almost bought the Bugera V5 yesterday. I tell you what's nice nowadays. If you buy something, you get like 30 to 45 days return policy, and I think that's great because if you don't like something, it's back in the day. It's like a car. As soon as you walk out the door, You turn around and come back in. That's used. I didn't even take it out of the case yet. No, it's used. I can't sell. Oh, I'm sorry, it's used. But you got to watch out for some of these people, because what they'll do is if you return that item and you get, a full refund after 30 days, whatever, sometimes they'll try to sell it as a new item. I caught that a few times. It's a hit or miss. What was the name of that other Roland cube? Oh, it's called the Street EX. You have the Street cube, which is like two 6-inch speakers, and I think that's 30 watts. That's the first version. The new version is called the Street Cube EX, and it's got 8-inch speakers, 50 watts, and it's got multiple ways you could mount it on a stand, so it'll be standing upright like this, or you could have it laying like this and have it tilt back. And it's got 2 channels, one for like an acoustic guitar or a microphone or a keyboard, and then it's other channel that has all the amp models. And that lead channel in it, I was like, holy crap. I think brand new is like $500. But here's something with this thing. This is what I do like about the Roland products. You can literally slap AA batteries in it. And there's this guy I know, his name is Mark, who's the owner of Victoria amplifiers, which Buddy Guy, another great Chicago blues guitarist, used to use Victoria amps. One year, me and my friend, we were the judges at Guitar Center's Battle of the Blues. There was myself, good friend of mine, great guitar player, T.D. Clark, and then Mark from Victoria. And I was talking with Mark, and his amps are great. All tube amps. It's like he modded these old Fenders, and then he ran with it, and just they have their own tone, which is really cool. But I said to Mark, I said, hey, you ever think about making an amp that'll run on batteries? And at the time, man, we had all these wedding gigs that we had to do, and we were in all these different places, and sometimes there was power and sometimes there wasn't. That's where these battery power things come into play. And, I'm telling Mark this, and, I understand what Mark, he wants to stay true to what his company is. But I said to him, I said, Mark, there is a sector of guitarists out there. There is another market out there that no one in their right mind dreams of being a wedding guitarist. Yes, I want to be a wedding guitarist. But the fact of the matter is, that whole sector has changed. You're not playing Here Comes the Bride a lot anymore. You'll be playing some rock and metal songs, Everything has changed. That whole platform has changed. So, I get hired, and I get the area where we have to go play, there's no power. But with the battery-powered stuff, you slap batteries in, you get the job done. So I told Mark this, and I said, I'm telling you, I'm not the only person. There is a whole bunch of us out there that we would buy your product. You would sell your product. You could have another division. You could call it something else, brand X made by Victoria amps, and brand X could be marketed to a specific clientele that is out there that will be guaranteed to buy your product, because when you do corporate gigs or wedding gigs, it's guaranteed money. You're not chasing money. It is a guarantee. He thought about it, and he says, nah, I don't want to spread myself too thin. I said, well, I respect that, So that's why I'll say about the battery-powered equipment, because it has a purpose. I mean, think about it, guys. And Guitar Hack, you know about this. You got two owners of the club. Owner A is got you booked now until 2035, but owner B comes by and says, okay, no, we're not going to be able to use you tomorrow, so he canceled tomorrow's gig, or you're setting up, oh, sorry guys, it's canceled. You know what I mean? So you have the fuddy-duddies, you got these two, button heads, and then you also know some of these gigs you try to get, they say, yeah, come in tomorrow, call me tomorrow, or I'll return the call. The call doesn't return, you don't return the call, they string you out, they string you out, they string you out. If you look at some of these videos with like the Boss GT1 And one of their promo videos is the GT1 with slap batteries in it, slap batteries in the cube amps, and you go out in the street and they're performing right there. In the old days, they called it begging, sometimes busking. But here's another thing: you could make money out there if you get the permits. If you're in the area, you have to get the permit. You get the permit. You're not gonna bother anybody. Guarantee you could get out there playing. I saw a video and I can't find it, so maybe someone took it down, where this guy and this girl, they're being interviewed about busking, and they both basically said in two different videos, they said, well, I called the club owner and the club owner keeps telling me tomorrow, call tomorrow, call tomorrow. And like a month goes by, call tomorrow, call tomorrow, call tomorrow. Finally he said, I'm not going to play games with this guy. So we just go out and we bypass all the clubs and we take our music right to the public. Now all of a sudden they got a crowd. Now that same club owner that said no or call me tomorrow, now all of a sudden they're looking for that musician because they're seeing, hey, they're take their music right to the public. In some of these cases, that's where you get the upper hand. You could say, well, you strung me out, so guess what? I'm not interested in playing your place. I'm going to go out there and play. Slap the batteries in, the weather's nice, boom, you're in business. There was another video I seen, this was a while back. A guy was playing by the cruise ships. While the cruise ships take off, he's playing keyboards and he was being interviewed. And he's selling his CDs. He's out there with his battery-powered keyboard, his battery-powered amp, and he's making a fortune. Because think about it. When you're by the cruise ship, and I'm not just talking about one cruise ship, on this part you have, Royal Caribbean, and over here, Carnival, and then Princess, and then you have Costa, I think it's the Costa Cruise Lines. You have all these cruise ships, and you got this guy right basically in the middle, and if one cruise ship will hold, let's say, 2,600 people, and it's sold out, that means 2,600 people are going to get ready to board that cruise ship. Because they're not going to beam aboard, like on Star Trek. They have to pass by all this. That's one cruise ship, let alone if you got 10. So this guy is making money left and right. So a guy was interviewing this guy. He says, hey, you sound pretty good. And this is when you were able to sell CDs. You still can. He said, hey, would you ever think about, hitting the big time? The guy looked at him and says, what do you mean hitting the big time? I am hitting the big time. What do you want me to chase these people for? That's going to tell me, call me tomorrow, we'll see about it, we'll think about signing you, and then they sign you and you get shelved, and then you can't do anything. He says, right here, I'm making money. I'm making more money here than my friends at their day job. Brilliant. Oh man, Dan, these days, a 20 to 40 watt tube amp is more than enough. You got that right. Tube amps have got a lot of power. Hey, there's EJ's Guitar Jams. Look at, I'm already like lagging behind, my friend, lagging behind. So let's see. I'm starting to put like a list of priorities. Okay, so you got like talking about amplifiers. A few channels I've seen people ask and make comments about, do you think amplifiers are going to go away? Or like larger amps, do you think some of these companies are going to be hurt? And a few people have said, no, I don't think they're going to go away. And I have to agree with them. They will not go away if they're smart, if they see what's happening right now, which a lot of them do. What makes these times so different than times in the past is times in the past we did not have the internet. So when disco was coming up and rock was kind of going down, the disco bands were still playing with live musicians. When this was happening, that was happening, you still had clubs that people were going out to. What has changed now is the fact that people could sit home, get on YouTube, put videos up on YouTube, and they're gigging, they're playing, even if it's from their bedroom or their studio. So I think amplifiers, and this is coming from experience as far as, playing out, like, yourself, Guitar Hack, and a few other people that's out there gigging. There is going to be always two worlds. The gigging world, we've seen a decline in people coming out and really caring. But the fact of the matter is, they'll still come out. What has happened with a lot of these stages, the stages have been shrinking. So when's the last time you've seen a full Marshall stack on a stage in a club? Maybe in a metal club, but everything is shrinking. It's getting smaller and smaller. So these manufacturers are taking notice of that. And what they'll do, like Fender, with the Fender Mustang series, everything can come out with the USB. Fender did have that floor Mustang, and that thing did sound good. But I think they need to also, understand that things always come in circles, So there will become a time when people eventually will go back out like they used to. But what they need to do is, have things on the back burner, take advantage of everything that's got USB ports so you can plug into the computer. But I really think that some of these companies should not try to be everything to everybody. In other words, you buy the Fender Mustang's got some great Fender tones on it because it's Fender. And they'll try to get a little bit of the British sound, maybe some of the Marshalls and the Voxes, and they do kind of good with that, And the same with the Marshall Code, and the PV Vipers. And like the Digitech. The Digitech's got some of its good points, it's got some bad points, And like the Helix. Got good points and it's got bad points. There's I think it's a used Helix at Guitar Center by us. We were in, I seen the unit. It's a nice, big, strong unit. A lot of ins and outs. Nice thick cord. But they didn't have the cord and we didn't have the time to plug the thing in. So, for me personally, I think amp manufacturers should stay neutral, continue building their amps that just do one thing. Have that series of amps, that line of amps, and then have something that will also do the all or nothing, that could do all these other functions. And just kind of monitor everything, because I'll tell you what, guys, anything could change with the way we use computers, and then all of a sudden that USB port is obsolete. Now you got all these pedals and these amps with a USB port, but guess what? It's obsolete. It's like buying a keyboard with a zip drive. When's the last, or floppy disk? When's the last time you used a floppy disk? You know what I mean? It's got to be able to survive where you can still stick a microphone in front of the speaker and, get a sound out of it. So, but I don't think amps will go away. Just they need to find ways around what's happening, because this is the first time this has happened with amplifiers and going direct into the PA or going direct into the computer. So they're still on their learning curve. But as long as they keep their eyes open and don't spend all their money and try to be everything to everybody and run the company into the ground, the next thing Fender now has a line of socks, which they might, Fender clothing, Fender diapers, now, okay. But you see, those are still in need, so that might float their boat, right? Yeah, here, my Legacy 100 had, oh yeah. Yeah, it's way too loud, but I'll tell you what, if you want to hang on to that Legacy amp, because it's sad to see that the Carvin company went down. Arvin Grant, how are you? It's good seeing you, my friend. Wrong button. And Putin came up. Jimmy T, I used a floppy disk 3 weeks ago. 3.5 and 5.5 inches. I was never a computer person. I remember back in Chicago seeing these ads for Control Data Institute. It's like 1979. Everyone had a lab coat. And the computers had the reel-to-reel, like the 1950s science fiction movie. I remember I was in 1979, 1980. I was a junior in high school, and our English teacher was talking about, is computers going to be the norm in the workplace? I look back at her statement and I'm thinking, I mean, she had to say what she had to say because she's a teacher, right? But I'm sure she looks back and shakes her head. But that's how things progressed, you know. You don't know. Yeah, the V22 is an awesome amp. Brugera, yeah. You know what? Watchman, for you, that Brugera tube amp, like a Fender. That vintage 22, I was able to get real close to that smooth, creamy Fender sound, which I kind of like that sound. The Fender sound and the Marshall sound. You know, when you want rock and metal, you get that Marshall sound. Jazz or blues or anything like that, you get the use the Fender. That's what we had back then. And you know, PVs, and crates, Barkus Berry amps. I use my Viper more. What's cool with that Viper is that you can, the Viper VIP variable input, is that you can run a bass in there, an acoustic guitar in there, and it's actually kind of like a PA. It'll get really, really close. The Katana has a setting for acoustic guitar that if you want to plug your acoustic guitar, you turn that knob to acoustic, and you can run your acoustic guitar. It's not going to make your electric sound like an acoustic. I think people had the misconception on that. Mr. Bruce, how you doing, my friend? I really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for EJ's music. Who are you and why are you here? GTTV. Oh, it's good seeing you, man. GTV Guitar TV. I think it was you, or you call you Old Blue Eyes now, I guess. You know, on EJ's channel. If it's the same person, you had and you were talking about, you had an interview with one of the magazines, and the label you were signing, they were telling you this, that, and the other. Yeah, that's how it is. But you know, I give you a lot of credit. You stood your ground, man. You know, and sometimes you have to. But everyone's got to understand that when you're signed to a record company, it's their money, and they can make the decisions because it's their money. And it does suck. It sucks real bad what they could do. But that's why when a friend of ours asked Deb, what does it take to make it in this industry, she flat out said one word, and she said money. If you have money, yeah, the connections, they do help. I'm not saying that they don't, and knowing people, that does help. But if you have money, and these people want to, you know, keep you out or whatever, you could go over their heads. And I know it's a statement that sometimes gets frowned down upon. But there's one thing we all share in common. We all have bills to pay, and we all need money to pay the bills, right? So you go over these people's heads, you flip the bill, and, you know, next thing you know, now your ad is on the radio. Remember back in the days, you hear the radio ads, you see the magazine ads. It was all done with, you know, with money, with funding. So the people you needed to know were the people who had the money. The beautiful thing about this is, if you're funding your project, you're in control of it, and no one can tell you anything. And they'll try to tell you this, that, and the other. They will try to say, well, no, he doesn't know what he's talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's fine. But I've had those same people that would shut me out, wouldn't give me the gig at the club for whatever reason, and I wasn't being combative. They didn't like me. That's fine. I'm not going to cry about it. Then a month later, guess what? We're at that place playing because we got hired out. And the guy's saying, how'd you get the gig in here? Well, we got hired. So this is what happens when people do, when they play those games. It always comes back and bites them in the rear end anyway. And that's really sad. But, you know, you live and learn. Right? So, yeah, there's a lot that's going on out there in the world. But, you know, one of the things I asked, would you guys, and anyone who has done this, would you guys and could you package your demos, whether you package it in a CD form or online digitally, and would you sell your demos? If your demos And what I mean by demo, maybe you got your own studio in your house, digital recorder, standalone recorder, or a computer, and people are telling you, no, that's a demo, you can't sell this, so you can't do this, that. Would you guys sell it? Because I'll tell you, I would. I have in the past, and we've made money. And it's not to be combative or to disrespect people that's got professional studios or anything like that. But, you know, one thing I could definitely tell you guys from experience, and I'm sure all of you guys experienced this too, is if you play the waiting game on getting signed, getting discovered, and people helping you out, you know, that's all fine and dandy. You could still do that. You still could solicit those people and ask them for their help in that. But if they string you out while they say the phone's gonna ring, make sure now you give them your cell number and you go out there and make money. Because nowadays that's what they want to see. They want to see, can you make money? You know. And again, I am always like a little bit back. Yeah, Guitar TV. It is a tough lesson. It's something that everyone learns. I think Guitar Hack was interviewing Johnny Bean, and Johnny Bean's got all that experience as well. And in the defense of Johnny Bean, when he said he couldn't remember what movies some of his music got put on, there are these companies, I forget what they're called because we've done this too, where you could take music and you could send it to a movie production, and I forget exactly what it's called. But there was these college interns. I would send them sound samples, and they would ask if they could use a song off my CD, and I said, yeah, okay, and then we get the credit for it and all that. But what they'll do is, if you do that, there's a company or several companies that they take your songs, or if you're gonna write specifically for a movie soundtrack, and then they like lease it to other companies. So yeah, he's right. You never know where it's gonna wind up. You know, you'll get paid, and then they get the music. I forget what it's called now. Dave, what's the story on the Oscar the Grouch guitar? No. Okay, so what Oscar the Grouch guitar you mean? You mean in the Warlock? Oh, this thing? Or is it this thing? There's no pun intended. I never take anything personal. You know? Or you mean the lawsuit guitar back here that looks like the Paul Reed Smith? That now everyone else could make it, but not Dixon, right? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Please take a practice amp and show us how. I will. You know what, Jeff? I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that. Make a video of that. Because you'd be real surprised. One of the gigs back in the 80s that I was doing with it was a cover band, top 40 band, and we would play at the Holiday in the Holodome in Indiana. We played by a poolside. I literally took a Fender, 15-watt Fender solid state amp. I forget what they were called at the time. Stuck a microphone in front of it, ran it through the PA, and put it this way, the poolside was a huge pool with a sauna, so it'll give you an idea of the size of floor space. The ceiling went 6 stories, so it'll give you an idea how high the ceiling was. You'd be surprised how sound will travel. The Fender amp I used had volume, I think it had gain, bass, middle, and treble. I don't think it even had reverb. And I had an Ibanez metal pedal, a DOD delay pedal, which I still have. No, the Fender did have a little reverb. Crappy reverb, though. A chorus pedal and a phase shifter. And an EQ. Ran it right into there, put the mic in front, and we were doing the gig. Let's see. Yeah, EJ's on Thursday, yeah. That's S-H-I-T. Sure happy it's Thursday. And feel good about it. Yep. Okay. Oh, you sell yours on Bandcamp. Yeah. Here's the thing. I would never tell somebody, no, you cannot sell that. That's a demo. No one's going to like it. I don't know where these people come from, boy. You know, that's kind of like discouraging you from progress. And now, again, we're not trying to sell it as a product that came out of $1 million studio, but haven't you gone to a, let's say, there's no more record stores anymore, but you go to, you know, maybe a used bookstore, and in the 50-cent bin, you see maybe a Rockin CD. Rockin did not record that, you know, under lock and key, or lock and chain, I can't remember. That's my bad. My bad. But anyways, they did not go into the Kmart studio with a Tascam 4-track to record it. They went to a professional studio. But guess where that CD wound up? Later on down the road. And guess what? Does that determine if you're going to buy it or not? No. If the content's good, the music's good. And with today's technology, it's unbelievable what you could do. So, yeah, go ahead and sell it. I remember when we were at this Texas gig. That's why I got this shirt on. It says World United Music Fest. And you had the panelists of 30 people. It was close to 30 people. There was 10 people on the panel, and there was 3 different panelists, you know. At this big conference at the Embassy Suite Hotel, San Marcos, Texas, where the only people that made out like a bandit was the Embassy Suite Hotel, because everyone was renting the room there for $150 a night, and they were there 3 and 4 days, so do the math there. And then the industry rented out the ballroom or the conference room, and they, you know, they had all the partitions down, so it was like one big huge room. So Embassy Suite, you know, the bigger the room, the more the money. So the Embassy Suite made out like a bandit. None of the musicians made anything. The show got canceled, and these people are telling everybody the right way to do it in the music industry, and the show gets canceled. This kind of pissed me off when I was sitting there, because they made a comment that they will take all music except that boring classical music. Okay, that's fine. But they said all music. Deb's feeding one of our little kittens right now. So they said all music. And there was this young girl, and there was a lot of us middle-aged people, and there was a couple of people that were like 10 or 12 years older than me, going on their second divorce. They got 3 mortgages out on the house. One guy told them that they got to write 15 more songs. He already paid $10,000 for the recording. Another guy told him, nope, you don't have your nephew take a picture of you and stick it on the cover of your CD. You got to drop $5,000 to get a professional photographer. Well, how do you know this guy's nephew isn't a professional photographer, right? So all that's going on, and this young girl stands up in the audience, and she says, hey, I just got my EP, and it's rap music, and it sounds pretty good. Everyone's been telling me I did a pretty good production, and it's rap music, hip-hop and rap. Will you guys take it? They said, nope, we ain't going to take that music. And I thought, wait a minute. 5 minutes ago you said we'll take all music except that boring classical. So I know how to spell all. A-L-L. All music. Now, this is how stupid these people are. And I hate to say it like that, but I just got to tell it like it is, you know? Pull no punches, you know? This young girl has got something very marketable more than what a lot of us older people have, because, you know, guess what you're going to see at Super Bowl? You'll see some of the rap. You know what I mean? So if I'm a person that's looking to make a fast buck, and she's got a hot item to sell, I don't know, maybe I'd want to jump on that deal because I know I could turn a profit, like, boom, like that. So these people are contradicting themselves, telling everybody you got to spend $5,000 for a professional photographer. You got to write 15 more songs, spend $20,000, go on your fourth divorce, lose the house. And I've seen people lose thousands of dollars, lose their homes to these whack jobs that tell you all this advice, and they promise you a big zero in the long run. So yeah, sell your product, man. Sell your music. I'll listen to it. I like it. I never judge a person by how many views they have on their channel, by if their CD was done at Abbey Studios in England, or if it was done at the Street Side Studios, you know, on Skid Row. As long as the song sounds good and the recording is good, hey, I'm gonna listen to it. And it doesn't have to be super polished. I personally like live recordings. What I like about live recordings is you get the audience response. It's something magical about a live recording. And back in the day, you had the studio recording, but then we saw the live recording or the band play live. They would expand on the songs and longer guitar solos, and it was just more cooler. But that's just the generation I come from, you know. But never let someone, you know, kill your dreams, man. I know a lot of times I'll talk about that, and it's because I've seen it happen so many times, and so many people just get they get crushed, and then they can't even sell that $5,000 guitar because now they say, well, I don't know that brand. Well, I'll tell you what, if in the pawn shop, I give you $200 for it, because I used to work at a pawn shop, and it's really sad what happens. It's really sad what happened with my friend. He couldn't sell his whammy bar, and then people, then they start losing their homes, and man, it's just unbelievable. And then this is what happens. People lose so much, they get so depressed, and they commit suicide. Are you kidding me over this? I hate to say it like that, guys, but you know, I say these things because when you experience certain things and you see what goes on, it's like, these people are nuts. Bye. You know what I mean? I don't care if I get an Emmy or if I get a Granny or a Grammy. I could care less, man. I just love to play. You know, and it's God-given talent. We've been very fortunate, very blessed. We've made a living with this. We're able to do this all under the radar, self-funded. And all these people that have tried to tell me you can't this, you can't that, they're all talk, no action, and we're out there making money. Proof is always in the performance, you know. A small YouTuber, but great guitarist named Chris. Yeah. And yeah, you know what? See, here's the thing. And like EJ's Guitar Jams, you know, when you spotlight all that's what I like to do. I tell people, if you got original music, you want me to play it? Yeah, I'll go and play it. And you don't have to give me anything. Unless you want to, but I'm not going to say, gimme, you know. I'll play it like the first measure of the song, but you give me $50 or whatever, and I'll play the rest. BS, man, you know. Give everyone a fair shot. I think everyone deserves it, you know. There's a lot of good people out there. You guys are great people. I gotta watch my time because the clock might run. Yeah, in stores. Yeah, you know what? Here's a good thing. Watchmen. I'm glad you said this. Now I'm not, you know, there's certain styles of music I'm not into. I'm not into rap, but when I teach music, I pull all my opinions aside because I don't want to rain on anybody's parade, and I help them learn what they want to learn, and I help encourage them to learn. If that's what they want to do, that's great. I just don't want to get anything that's, you know, indecent and immoral and illegal. I don't want to, you know, deal with anything like that. But there was, when we lived in Illinois, Aurora, Illinois, Fox Valley Mall, Christmas time, you go through the mall and people rent little booths, and guess what? They're selling CDs of their hip hop and rap and everything else. And they're probably using, you know, an older drum machine, and some people record on an old cassette 4-track, you know, and they're rapping and they're hitting the buttons, and people are buying this. And then you get some clown tell you you have to use the $100 a pack of strings that costs $100 made by so and so that on his deathbed. I mean, it's always this grand story, you know, that you have to this and you have to that, otherwise nobody's gonna like what you're doing. And then you get these rappers with these old drum machines and these old 4-track cassette, and they're making their music rapping, telling nursery rhymes or whatever, and they're selling them, and everyone's saying, "Oh, this is beautiful. Look at this," and they're making a fortune. Now, don't you think there's something wrong with this picture? After some guy just told you he's listening. Well, in the bridge section, you didn't do this. The chorus section, and where's the chorus section and the bridge section in a rap song? Where's the melody line? Some do, some have it, but some don't. It's opinion. You know what they used to say about a person with opinion? Opinion's like a rectum, everyone has one. You want it? He'll go to extreme lengths to obtain it as well. Do anyone in chat know where one is? No, I know of Friedman guitars. I know of Friedman amps, but I know of Friedman guitars. The best thing I could suggest is, if you guys would probably already do this, do research online and find out who has it. But find out in an area close to you, and if you're going to buy something, meet at a music store, meet at a public place, and check it out. I'm very leery about showing everything that we have, you know. I see people do this and they do what they want. Be very careful showing everything that you have in your house. And then, now you're on vacation. I'm going out tomorrow at noon, I'm out the door, and then you're videotaping yourself out the door, driving down the road, and all the rip-off artists know where you live, know what you have. They already took inventory because you're showing it on YouTube, right? And next thing you know, you come back from your vacation all happy, and you notice, the door is open a little bit. Well, what's going on? Oh, didn't you used to have all that? Yeah, what happened to all our gear? They cleaned house. It's an old trick. When we were on our honeymoon, we were in Hawaii. A guy's asking for... Okay, sorry, we dropped off a little bit there, guys. We're getting ready to lose our signal because we usually shut it off at 9 o'clock anyways. But the whole trick is, they want to team up. If you're on vacation, they got people, they got friends, robbers stick together until when they screw themselves over, then they'll turn each other in. But the point is, they'll scope out your house. So yeah, I want to give a quick shout outs to Ed Dana. He's got his new Chromebook. Thank you so much, Ed. We'll definitely get in touch with you. EJ's Guitars. We'll hook up, do our live chat. 9 Phantoms, GT Guitars. Robert's Guitar Dungeon. Subscribe to his channel. He's almost at 10,000. He's a great guy. Does great reviews. Joe Winch, the Joe Winch Project. And subscribe to each other, man. And we will be live. I'll be live Saturday at 1 o'clock. But next Tuesday, I'll be doing a hangout with the one and only Guitar Hack. Great guy. I watched your video earlier today. Great performance you done, man. So we'll be doing that, I think, 7 o'clock. We'll hook up and get the time ready, and we'll announce it. So it'll be a great hangout. And again, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in and for subscribing to my channel. I thank all my new subscribers, and as a whole, I thank all of you guys, because, you guys really do matter. And as time, keeps going on, and we get bigger and bigger,